RTD Live Talk, Detroit's number one late night live talk show. Still got to work out those kinks. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone's doing well. Looking forward to connecting and finding out what's going on in your world, as well as talking about some interesting subject matter. The dollar, of course, is no longer the reserve currency. It's not official yet, but we all know kind of where it's heading. That's why I decided to wear my special shirt today, saying that the basically the dollar is a hazardous medium of exchange that you might not want to hold too much of moving forward. So we're going to talk about that as well as a lot of other subject matter. Hope everyone is doing well. And then when it's time to open up the phone lines, I would love to hear from you guys. Number is 313-462-0027. We'll love to find out what's going on in your world, as well as what other subject matters out there that we need to talk about. So let me dive into the chat real quick, acknowledge a couple people for taking time to bless us with their presence, and then we'll dive into a couple stories here. All right, let me see. We have Simon. It says, therefore, submit yourselves unto God, resist the devil, he will flee from you. James 4:7. Hey, man, appreciate that. And I definitely am down with that one. Barlight Broker in the building. We got Master Don. We got JoJo. We got Patriot Star 777 from Jacksonville. Appreciate you for tuning in. What's going on in your neck of the woods? Empirical Truth is pretty much every canceled person is in disagreement with the Fed. Root of all evil. Fed notes. Iman, we got Barlight Broker in the building. Low blood pressure. Jim Diggs. Tom, we got Looter 92. All right, appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. So feel free, as always. I want to make sure I give you guys a chance to talk about whatever else subject matters might be worth talking about, letting your voice be heard. So feel free to chime in, throw a subject matter in the chat, and we can touch on it. And I don't want to hog the mic up. I want to make sure I give everybody a chance to share their thoughts on whatever topics we touch on. And so I see we have the, let me actually switch up my screen a little bit here, and then we'll get right into some of the topics. Man, I got too many windows open back here. Let me close a couple windows and open up some. And then before I dive further, let me do a little house cleaning on my side. And we can keep it moving. All right. So for those that are tuning in, first-time viewers, whatever, might be coming across the channel for the first time, if you guys want to stay up to date on some of the latest events, feel free to visit the rethinkingthedollar.com blog. And I post articles there on gold, silver, crypto, Maine, you name it, it's there throughout the day. So feel free to scroll over there. And then also we have our weekly hangouts on Patreon. So for whatever reason, Patreon might be down, but feel free to become a Patreon. You can join us off air to hang out a little bit. And then here are the social media tabs where you can find RTD for now. And the most popular one is the Discord page, where I grab a lot of the articles that we touch on from that section there. And so if you click the link beneath us, join us. We got about 20 people online now and 187 over there. And so you can stay up to date, share articles, videos, or whatnot, and connect with us. And let's keep it moving. And so here is a yard sign that I actually made to get more people thinking outside the box and really question the whole stimulus check concept. And so I've actually placed some of these along some major roads in Detroit. So it's interesting to see the response from that as people come across the subject matter of how the Federal Reserve note, aka the dollar, as I've always mentioned before, will end up being your greatest nightmare. As we're going to talk about some articles here, the Biden spending plan will definitely cause havoc in the days ahead. So something worthwhile that I thought I would share with you guys. All right. So, of course, I got a couple articles, and they're pretty much all geared towards the dollar, man, the Federal Reserve note, which is going to be, it's been weaponized. It's being destroyed as we speak, man. They're going to continue to borrow, i.e. supposedly borrow, but they're not going to be paying it back. But the spending budget is going to continue to increase as a part of this infrastructure, which is definitely going to take the dollar further down the tubes. And the world is recognizing it, and they're making adjustments. So there's a lot of activity happening, unfortunately, in the central bank digital currency realm, where there's partnerships being formed right now and a lot of projects that are being brought to the light of nations, basically, destroying their own currencies, and they're doing it and introducing the central bank digital concept to the people. But here's just a little zero hedge title that I thought was worth mentioning. It says U.S. dollar status as a dominant global reserve currency drops to a 25-year low. And so this just is visual aid here. Gives you an idea as to, where the world has positioned themselves, where they're betting against the dollar. They themselves are deciding to dump the dollar. And here's just this little graph here This article which originated from Wolf Street, but as you can see, over the last umpteen years, let me see here, starting back 2014, especially, and well beyond that time frame, it has a reserve status. It's been just dropping. And it looks similar to this same image right here. Like, as the purchasing power has been diminished, more nations have realized that the Federal Reserve, i.e. Uncle Sam, have abused their privilege of having a reserve currency. So everybody's dumping it. So as I always mentioned before, you don't want to be the last one holding the bag. And give you some highlights here. It just talks about not included in the global foreign exchange reserves are the Fed's own holdings of the dollar-denominated assets. It's 4.9 trillion in treasury securities and 2.2 trillion in mortgage-backed securities that it has amassed as a part of its QE program. So when you got the Federal Reserve loading up their balance sheets with government liabilities in the form of treasuries, as well as real-world assets with mortgage-backed securities, which are basically the the title and deed to these houses out here, all these mortgages are now owned by the Federal Reserve. So, yeah, interesting subject matter there. So here's the official story here. Talk about global foreign reserves. For the fourth quarter last year, at 25-year lows. U.S. dollar share of currency reserve plunged to the fourth quarter last since 1995. So the IMF is out here giving warnings, as well as they're telling people to never mind how much you're spending. There's no amount that can be spent too high to help aid in this recovery, in this global recovery. So something worthwhile there. And then here's a little something from a local channel in Cleveland, I believe, where it talks about the fourth stimulus check. Could it lift 7 million people out of poverty? And that's a question I want to put up there to you guys. Will another round of $1,400 checks help 7 million people out of poverty? And so I thought that was, comical, but it is what it is. So yeah, more checks will be coming, unfortunately. And then it says here, debt is up 1 trillion in the first 6 months of the fiscal 2021. And once again, this number is extremely low. It's extremely low because with the recent 1.9 and its upcoming 2.5 and last year's 4 point something, that's 6-7 trillion right there. So once again, how they're getting 1 trillion within this last fiscal year, which started, I think it was back October of 2020. Not quite sure how they're getting those numbers, so they're letting us know that even maybe the alternative media sources might be a little shy on their numbers. But it's the dollar, man. This is what's going on here, and of course, I got a couple more articles here that I want to touch on, but I missed a couple calls already. So let's open up the phone lines. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on any of these matters. Let me unmute some stuff here, and feel free to call. I want to hear what else is going on. A lot of things are happening out here, and I want to make sure I give you guys the opportunity to share what's on your mind. And so let me check out the chat here. As always, highlight at Rethinking the Dollar, and it'll stand out, and I can bring it to the forefront and see what's going on. It says, God says Mike's going to spend a long time on YouTube. All right, I'll get to that question in a second there. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes. Hello. This is the Chinese buffet calling.
All right, we got a little prankster out there. I appreciate you taking time to be creative of that magnitude. Yeah, man, what else is going on? Give me a call. Let's talk about the whole YouTube situation. And so, yeah, what I've noticed over the last 3 months especially, the YouTube channel in particular, due to the algorithms and especially the subject matter, they've dialed back tremendously to where having close to 30,000 subscribers and only maybe 2,000 at best might end up seeing the video. So I'd imagine pretty soon, I'll probably have to go to a real alternative source. But let's check in. Hello, caller. Which name are you calling from? All right, give me a call. Lost you there. All right, keep it moving. Destroy the dollar. I love it. When will they start evictions? Looter 92, great thought there. When will they start evictions? Well, the CDC, however, they have the authority to do such. They've extended the moratorium. So basically the 30 to 40 million renters that I'm familiar with, or as well as the owners of those properties, I think they're going to have it's going to be hard, man, because I'm not sure if the government funds will be able to cover the losses over the last year plus. So they're going to keep trying to roll those things over until something gives. And what gives, I'm not exactly sure, whether it be the stock market or the dollar first or what, but we're going to find out. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Casey calling from Fort Worth, Texas.
Casey from Fort Worth. How you doing, my man? What's on your mind?
Good. I watched your intro, and you're talking about the IMS and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And if I'm not mistaken, Janet Yellen was telling a lot of people to start going to the IMF to get SDRs,
Yeah.
telling corporations, and telling companies,
Yeah.
and countries.
Yep.
And the Federal Reserve just printed $650 billion, probably to prop up the IMF.
Mhm.
And before that, I want to say they printed half a trillion worth of SDRs.
Yeah.
And they're embracing all this cryptocurrencies now. Musk is buying cryptos. They're saying how it's such a good investment. So I think they're preparing people's minds for what's going to happen. And we're just have to wait and see. And like you said, the stimulus check, it's only a matter of time before people are saying, it's going to, all this money is going to, I want to say 77% of the nation already knows about inflation or is worried about it. But,
Yeah.
Anyways, I think they're just getting ready for the collapse. And,
Yeah.
They're just preparing their minds for it.
No doubt. They've been slowly introducing us to the concept of stimulus checks. I remember talking about it, I think it was probably in the fall of last year, how by summer of this year, there's going to be some type of announcement where they're going to try to throw out something to make it enticing to the people, or the people will start demanding their representatives to do something to help off with the so-called, recovery or whatnot. So, yeah, we've been groomed for it for a while, man, to where you got mainstream media talking about stimulus checks is just going to be a monthly occurrence. And then we got the Boost Act, which I think low blood pressure put into the Discord. And that was something introduced last summer by Omar and Cortez or whatnot on doing something monthly in the form of $2,000. And so that stuff is already laid out. All those bills are laid out. They just need Biden's signature or whoever's signature behind the surface. So, yeah, man, appreciate you for sharing that. Bring it to you. I actually have it on the screen here about the whole IMF thing. So I appreciate you bringing it to our attention.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, be good. Yeah, great subject matter. So this was one of the articles I was going to touch on. And so here we got the U.S. is working with the IMF to provide $650 billion. And so once again, how can Uncle Sam, who's already tapped out, be able to offer anything other than the fact they've weaponized the Federal Reserve note? I mean, at this point, they can create as much currency as possible to try to prop up and to help other countries, but we can't even help our damn self. Like, and that's how bad it is, to where people don't question. So why would nations hold on to our liabilities when we are just creating it out of thin air and sending it around the world? So doesn't surprise me one bit, but it's a part of the collapse. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Chris from LA in the UK.
Chris from LA in the UK. How you doing, man? What's on your mind?
I'm good. Looks like France is about to shut down again. Another lockdown.
Okay.
Taking a guess that it's going to come out of here eventually. They claim everything's going to open back up, but I don't know. It looks like France is getting hit right now, so it might come this way also. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and so there's rumors once again floating around Michigan. So we're hearing the mainstream media here in Michigan is talking about cases are rising, and so it's rumors floating around that Whitmer might decide to shut down again or lock down here in Michigan as well. So it doesn't surprise me one bit, man. And I think a lot of that talk is to groom us for the fact that they need more fear to tell people to go out and get that jab so that they can implement the passports, because there's some resistance now with that passport. And so I think there's a new state. I think it was West Virginia or something like that. I just recently talked about they're not doing it either. So they need more fear. So what better way to do it than lock it down and keep people scared, man?
It's funny because I actually work for the government. I'm trying to. I work for the NHS, which is the government as far as the health out here, the National Health Organization.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get everybody to take this vaccine, and it's funny because the people I work with, they always call me the conspiracy theorists. When they're talking about, you don't need to get this thing, it has nanotechnology, this and that, and everybody, some people hear it, but then you have other people that go out and get it. I mean, the CEO of the trust is trying to get everybody to take it, and she's trying to get the hierarchy to influence everybody to consider it, pretty much almost like marketing everybody to get it.
Yeah.
And I'm the one person that's like, it's not going to happen. And a lot of other people are taking it. People out here are different. They're not like, they're more conservative out here, and they're also more submissive. So most people will probably just go with the flow.
Yeah.
They're not like people in the U.S., which are more rebellious.
Yeah.
People out here are very conservative, and they don't really cause many waves. They really trust the government also out here.
Yeah, and that's what surprised me, man. Like most people, just the fact that I've heard the words conspiracy theory thrown around a lot more now. Just the fact you got mainstream media with their own fact checking group, and then every article you post or share or even see in your news feed and all those social media platforms, they got something beneath that says, this has here been verified and proven to be false. I'm like, who the hell are you? Like, so people don't question, man. Like, how? Exactly. And any alternative version, it has to be some conspiracy type stuff. So right now, it's you would think more people would recognize the fact that there are no such thing as conspiracies now, because everything now seems to be very truthful in nature because it's all in front of our faces. But in a developed world, we're so comfortable, complacent, man. Most people don't realize that we're being squeezed. Exactly. And another thing I just noticed today, and I'll stop ranting, but once again, during the lockdown period that happened initially, everybody who were not essential was forced in home, but yet 5G towers popped up all across the country, and them boys is everywhere now, like never before. And then I noticed along the freeway here, the 75 right here, there's cameras all along 75 now. I'm like, damn, they got 5G and they got cameras, but people don't really want to talk about that stuff, man. But
my theory about the 5G thing is, I think they're putting up the 5G, and I think the nanotechnology in the vaccine, I think what it is 5G antennas are almost like a radio station broadcasting the signal.
Yeah.
And I think the nanotechnology makes your body act like a receiver.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think whatever they pretty much project through the towers, I think we receive it through these little robots that are inside the vaccine. That's what I think it is.
Yeah, and I posted a video and talked about it a while ago. There's a video out here from a biomedical weapon doctor or something. I put it in the Discord as well, but it's an older video, but it talks about all the technology that they were developing 10, 15, 20 years ago and how it's already complete and ready. They just need to roll it out. And so when you see all the stuff that they have already developed and how it entails all the stuff that we're experiencing now, it puts it all together perfectly. Like it's already there. It's science, it's proven, but yet it's not beneficial for our bodies and humanity in general. So, but hey, man, I appreciate you.
Most of the technology that the general public knows about is about 30 years old.
Yeah.
So the military, all the top technology goes to the military first. So the U.S. military has tops. Like I have friends that their dads work for Boeing. I have friends that work for Boeing also, and they have technology that's classified that you would never even, your mind couldn't even conceive of the stuff that they have. So the stuff that we even think about and we know about at this point is already been, it's almost like the scraps that the military has already used.
Yeah.
It's old, outdated technology.
Yeah. Very true, man.
Also, I'm going to tell you, I'll send you a message on the Discord page.
Okay.
I'm actually working IT, so I have some ideas to help your platform.
Bad. Sounds good, man. I look forward to talking to you. Thank you. All right, be good. Yeah, good stuff, man. I appreciate the thoughts. So yeah, France is back on lockdown, and so I think the UK is on lockdown, France on lockdown, and so I think we're here. We're long overdue here for that red state, blue state clash. We witnessed it during the election of the 2020 election, where a lot of governors didn't jump on board with locking down in its entirety, and so now we got more states now that have made it to where they don't have to do the mask in their states. And so, of course, Texas, I think, started that charge. And, of course, in the blue states here in Michigan in particular, they're still harping on mask and whatnot. So there's rumors in the air of another lockdown here in Michigan. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of these billions of dollars that will be given out to blue states first that decided to lock down and cooperate, because this next wave of lockdowns possible is going to be geared towards getting the billions of dollars to the states that already locked down at first. The ones that President Trump decided not to help out, those are the states that are going to get the most funds. And of course, it's not going to make its way to the people, but you know how it goes. Anyway, let's get this call here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's Pete from Colorado.
Pete from Colorado. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, I ain't better, and I couldn't stand it. I haven't listened for very long, man, but it's real depressing hearing everything you're talking about.
Tell me about it, man. I need some good news, man. Give me some.
I was going to say, you just got to stop watching the news, man. Turn it off.
Yeah.
I live in a blue state.
Uh-huh.
I go to the restaurant down the road. There's no mask. There's at a Qdoba, no mask.
Mhm.
Like everything's going back to normal.
Yeah.
Everything's getting better.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Hey.
I mean, you gotta move, dude, and turn off the news.
Yeah, and I say I literally I don't watch the news like that. I just keep my notifications on, and through the forums and whatnot, I like to stay in tune to the events happening around me because they're happening around me, and they're eventually going to be coming to my, God forbid, to my front door at some point directly. So I like to try to stay in tune. You know, I like to unplug as well. So I do unplug, don't get me wrong. But a lot of the back and forth here is to make sure that we try to reach out to people who are not into the know and get them to thinking for themselves and doing whatever they need to do to prepare, however that is. So that's kind of how I approach it.
I'm being a smart ass.
But you're real though, because it's a lot of bad news.
Turn off my notifications.
Yeah.
I just choose what news I see.
Yeah.
You know, in all seriousness.
Mhm.
But no, things are good, man. Like, but to answer your one question though, like the stimulus checks don't fix the problem.
Yeah.
If people don't have a good job, time is working against them, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. But yeah, you see, I mean, it's just unfortunate how we're being groomed and being led down that rabbit hole of, like, you know, the government again is getting bigger and they're trying to be the overlords and the financiers of every single household, which is a part of their plan. So it's unfortunate, but that's kind of where this thing is going to end up, just based upon the trends, in my opinion.
It's not even everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, there are places in the country where people are scared shitless.
Mm-hmm.
And like wearing a mask alone in the car.
Yeah.
And then there are huge sections of the country where people just aren't listening and they're just living their lives.
Yeah.
It's not even. They don't have total power.
Yeah. That's very true. Very true. And I like to see
Joe Biden, Biden never came out here and made me put a mask on, dude. It didn't happen.
Hey, man, I hear you, man. It's good to hear from you, man. I appreciate you for checking in with us.
All right.
Be good. Yeah. Oh, man. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, let's keep it moving, man. What else you guys want to talk about? I want to get a couple more calls in here. Let me see here. So tonight, what I'm looking to do, and so another thing about being prepared is having emergency food and things like that. And I've never dived deep into that stuff just because, you know, my motto has always been get your weight up. I stick to the heart of everything and of the monetary system. And so I'm looking to have on Mike, the prepper nerd, to share with us some interesting software where it'll help us, because I know for myself, I buy stuff, I sit it on the shelf, and it collects dust, and because there's no emergencies directly, I never go back to recycle through it to find out dates and times. And so I end up connecting with him to get a better understanding of how we can basically keep better inventory count and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to sharing that, because it's something that I'm planning on doing for myself, just to help me weed through the shelves a little bit. Because I usually put stuff and forget about it, and stuff goes bad, and I get pissed that I spent money to then throw stuff out. So I'm looking forward to getting educated on that sense there. So make sure you guys tune in if you're interested in finding out more tonight at 9, and we can do that. Let me see here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This Truth or Nothing calling from Phoenix, Arizona.
Truth or Nothing. How you doing, my man?
What's up, Mike? Hey, I've been watching for quite a while, obviously for the past year, you know, everything that's been going on. And I'm just trying to report here what's going on in my region.
Yeah.
We got this Operation Vaccination Camp set up here where a lot of people I see every day next to Capitol Park are driving up and just getting the shot like it's nobody's business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just it's weird. My coworker just got his shot. His son got his shot. And he goes, "Are you going to get your shot?" And I looked at him, I said, "I don't need to. I've been on this planet 46 years. I haven't died from the flu. I haven't given nobody the flu yet. And I haven't died from it. I don't see no reason to do it." And he looked at me like, "Okay, hopefully you don't catch COVID." And I looked at him like, "I don't think it's going to happen."
Yeah.
You know? So it's real strange times we're living in, Mike. And,
yeah.
You know, it's just a word to everybody out there that's been following this, you know, this channel. Stay strong.
Yeah.
It's gonna change, and you could feel it. It's in the air, Mike, and it's gonna get bad in time.
Yeah.
But just stay strong, everyone. And Mike, thank you for everything you do.
Appreciate you,
I'll
man.
just leave it as that, and you stay up, my brother.
For sure. Appreciate you, my man. Thanks for calling in.
Likewise, Mike. Take it easy.
Yep. Yeah, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Appreciate the calls, man. Yeah, let's check in with me. Let me know where you're at and what you're seeing. Of course, it's common sense to me that everybody is bought into it. And when you got people out here preaching that it's patriotic to, participate, it's like, okay, people don't question nothing these days. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Tony from Oakland. How you doing, bro?
TB, doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, man. I just wanted to ask you, man, what happens when we have to address the debt ceiling?
When we got a who? Say again?
We got to address the debt ceiling.
The debt's is there a ceiling still? Didn't they suspend that thing because of emergency measures, or they still talk about a ceiling? Because they always move the damn thing.
They suspended it in 19, but they have to address it July. And with the amount of money that they're spending, they'll have to cancel the debt ceiling or make the debt ceiling so high that it's not even a factor anymore.
Yeah, and so okay, I think they'll probably cancel it. They'll cancel it, but yeah, they're going to do it in a way that's going to be a national type of emergency, and they're going to try to justify it because they can't put it up, 3 or 4 more trillion because they're going to need more than 3 or 4 more trillion, just for the remainder of this year. And then, tell them what's going to come next year. So they're going to have to, somehow, some way cancel that damn thing. But how, what? Because the Federal Reserve only one buying, so it don't really matter if they do.
No, they have to address it.
Mm-hmm.
They have to address it this year because they kicked the can down the road, and Trump gave them 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that this is the final coup de grace. You either have to address it, or you make the ceiling so high that it becomes non-factor. But if you do that, what is the other countries going to think when you just print the money?
They watch this. They already have been dumping. So the most important countries have already lowered their reserves, and that's China and Russia. So basically from there, you got all the smaller nations that are going to sign up, and they're on board already with China and Russia. So it's already too late. So I don't know. I don't think it's that much of a big deal. But it's just a matter of that little bit of remaining reserves is out there, denominated in Federal Reserve notes and treasuries and stuff that I think they care about, of which they're about to add to that. So here's an old map here of the ceilings as each president continues to, add to it. They double the debt every single time. So Biden got to put at least another 15 trillion on it before, it really becomes a true issue, I think.
Well, they'll have to put on all the money from when Trump canceled the debt.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't address it like it's supposed to be addressed, they have to put all that money on from the Trump administration to the Biden administration on the books.
Mm-hmm.
So they go from 27 trillion to what? Another 5 trillion, 28 trillion.
They're gonna add another 10. They're gonna have to add 10 at a minimum. 10 is just I think foreseeable because we got the 2.5 right now for first phase of the Biden infrastructure. Then we're gonna have another something on top of that. And that's just what we're being told. But yet the Build Back Better plan is like a 3 or 4 phase ordeal. And so we just on phase 1, 2. So that's another 5 or 6 trillion for the phase 3 and 4. You know what I'm saying? So
that's next year's budget.
Yeah.
This year's budget, they had. I found out that Janet's 1.9. If she doesn't get rid of that by July, it's going to go into the budget. Now you and I talking trillions.
Yeah.
The rest of the world doesn't understand trillions.
Very true.
They don't understand trillions, so it's just going to be you got to do something.
Yeah.
Either crap or get off the pot.
Yeah.
It to be a telling situation when it comes to moratoriums, when it comes to all this stuff that you got to take your foot off the brake at some point.
No, but watch this. One thing that can make July possibly another national emergency style approach to where this debt ceiling situation is approved and not frowned upon. It'll be if they decide to try to do the lockdowns again. Because I haven't heard much about, was it the next case or what is it, the second wave or whatever. Remember, we talked about the second wave, the third wave. So in Europe now, I think France in particular, they're on their second or third wave, UK on their second or third wave. We ain't heard nothing about no waves yet. And I think as a part of the rising cases here in Michigan, especially, a lockdown would definitely justify them being able to add more or permanently remove the ceiling because another lockdown requires unprecedented emergency stimulus money again. So I can see that lockdown being something they would use to say, hey, we're gonna need another 4 or 5. You know what I'm saying? So let's suspend it until 2023 or some crap like that. So you never know, man. But they're gonna come up with something that's not gonna be creative because we know they have to continue to borrow and print. So it don't take a rocket science.
They don't do the lockdown thing anymore. It's already been discovered that the governors run their state.
Yeah.
Ask Texas, ask Florida.
Yeah.
No more lockdown. So I'm sorry. Not that nationwide.
Yeah.
Forget that.
Yeah.
I'll let you go, brother.
Okay. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. So yeah, you would think that once again the lockdowns, of slowing was intended to slow the curve from 15 days to 30 days to wherever we're at now. But they have to keep fear. They got to keep pumping cases and testing, and they got to do all that stuff to make sure people participate and stop and don't ask questions. So at this current moment, man, I think everything's on the table still. So I would like to say that there'll be no more lockdowns, but I think as the red states and blue states collide, because the blue states are going to start talking about no passes, we're not doing that passport stuff. We're going to open up with no masks, and it's going to be outright civil war, man. Unfortunately. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, how's it going? It's Brando Commando from FEMA Region 3.
Brando, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, Mike.
What's on your mind?
I'm just calling today to bring up some current events. I don't know, maybe you guys have seen. Did you hear that Belgium got sued and they have to turn back all COVID restrictions and lockdown measures?
No, I did not. I don't think so. Give us some more insights on that.
The government of Belgium got sued by some humanitarian rights council.
Yeah.
And pretty much hung them out to dry. And Belgium, as of tomorrow or maybe Monday, is rolling back and canceling all COVID lockdown measures.
So rolling back and canceling. So how do you undo the damage that they've already caused would be, something that I'm like, okay, how are they going to work that out? Like, I get your point about, it now being considered illegal, but how do you roll back and
Yeah, I mean, of course you can. They probably already have a lot of their primary endpoints, fulfilled.
Yeah.
But the cat is out of the bag.
Yeah.
So I'm calling again to encourage people to keep pushing back.
Yeah.
Because we are making cracks in the dam, and
Yeah.
the leaks are starting to be more and more monstrous.
Yeah.
And if Joe Biden really wants to impose some sort of vaccine identification, that violates so many laws and rights that we have to push back against that.
Yeah.
So I think now is kind of like a good time in society. I feel like people are much more calm than they have been. I feel like the fear mongering has died down a little bit, and now might be our chance to make a good stand and really start to let the cat out of the bag. Try to ease people's fears and, walk around, no mask, breathe some fresh air, and, push back a little bit. Now's our opportunity.
Yeah. Hey, I agree, man. Thank you for keeping us up to date. I actually got something here found something talks about Belgians breach virus rules as warm weather draws crowds. So looks like people, and of course, the mainstream media here has not talked about all the riots and protests and the people in the streets and the police clashing with people over the lockdowns in those countries. So, yeah, if people in the U.S. knew how the Europeans were not standing for that based upon their history and their past of everything that's been done to them, I think it'll encourage a lot more people here to question what's going on and why they're not out in the streets too. So, but I think, here's another distraction that's coming pretty soon. We got the whole George Floyd situation going on right now in the spring, and there's going to be a verdict that comes out not favorable for, that's going to show any signs of justice. They're going to lead to people hitting the streets, and they're going to start creating chaos in the spring and summertime, man. So,
but you forget last year, they started coming out with those studies that showed, BLM didn't do any spreading of coronavirus, and everyone out in the sunshine was actually good for health.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll be encouraging us to go outside.
Yeah.
One other related side note about the lawsuit. Everyone go check out George Gammon's YouTube page.
Yeah.
He is really suing the feds.
Yeah. I saw that. So watch it. It's going to be interesting to see how George and Robert Kiyosaki is able to pull that off, because how it's very encouraging, but yet because it poses so much of a threat.
From the Covington kid lawsuit.
So it sounds good on the surface, but I think, they stand to remove the veil to the curtains of the biggest criminal organization of all times, man. It's going to get very interesting with some fireworks if it gets to the point where it becomes serious. So, but I wish them well, man. I hope they do their thing.
Let's all be witness that George Gammon did not commit suicide.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I got to check in with him, man. But hey, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, man.
All right, Mike.
Be good. Yeah. Be good.
Later.
Oh man, good stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I've been keeping tabs on that, man. And so the end the Fed, George is real hard pressed to really shine light on the criminality behind a central banking concept, but he's up against a monster, 100-year-old monster plus. Actually, couple 100-year-old monster. So it's going to be interesting to see their fight. I wish them well, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on? It's Miles from NY.
Miles from NY. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Man, not much, man. I'm just trying to maintain it and do what I got to do, man, and survive out here and thrive,
I hear you, man. What's going on in New York, man? I see Cuomo out there tripping with those passports and stuff, man. What's up?
You know what, man? He's bugging out, but New Yorkers, man, when we get fed up, man.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's two New Yorks. There's the New York that they show on the news, and then there's the New York, the real New York. Those guys that say, man, he could go take it and do whatever he's going to do. We ain't doing that.
Yeah.
And so be it. It is what it is, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And then also, a lot of people forget, like, this country, it really is like nations within inside this nation. There's a lot of different groups of people that disagree with what he's saying and what he's doing and just already have drawn the line in the sand.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to know. Where is everybody's line in the sand? What they will no longer accept and say, okay, look, this is something I'm willing to lay it all down for and give it all up for because I'm not going past this point with you. I'll accept this. I'll maybe cater to certain things, but this won't be tolerated, like them passports and stuff like that. There's people out there that still operate in New York that's out of the system. They've never been a part of the system.
Yeah.
And that underbelly, that underclass, that's a large part of New York, man. A lot of people don't realize that, man.
Yeah.
There should be like a street vendor out there. So I understand how people move out there and how they really survive and how they do things,
Yeah.
But, I just wanted to say, man, also with the George Gammon thing, maybe it will, maybe it won't succeed as far as getting them to reveal this and reveal that. Maybe they do. But the point is to wake people up and to address people and show them, listen, these people, no matter what people say, I don't have a defeatist attitude.
Yeah.
Like, they will only do what you allow them to do.
Yeah.
I was raised like that. A man can only do to me what I allow him to do to me. Whether it be by force or he got to. But I'm not going to sit there and just passively say, okay, no problem. It's out of my hands and I can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
It's by works. And just like God said, you can have intention, but you got to have works behind that. You got to put that evidence also, So that's what I just want to say. Like, even if it don't succeed, the fact is he's bringing attention to it.
Yeah.
And that's pushing the ball further.
Yeah.
They'll be less likely to say, okay, look, we're going to just trample them over and run them over because there's resistance there.
Yeah.
And we know that people and things like to take the path of even less resistance.
Yeah.
It's just like a circuit of water. It's always going to flow with the least amount of resistance. But if you put up resistance and you show them, look, we're not doing that. We're not giving up our AA rights, our booms. We're not giving up our food, our right to eat meat. We're not giving up our land. We're not doing anything.
Yeah.
You descend the venom, the snake.
Yeah.
You tell them, look, I don't want to eat up all the time, but you tell
them,
you're
good.
Basically, you're my employee. You're going to do what I'm supposed to do and just getting out of here. And that's what it is with Cuomo. I don't know who he rubbed the wrong way. I mean, outside of the basic New Yorker.
Yeah.
But he's out of here. He's on his way out the door. All them allegations and all that stuff. He's been doing that.
Yeah.
He's been doing that. It is. But, he's rubbed the wrong person the wrong way.
Yeah.
And now they want him gone.
Yeah.
He will never see the fruition of all his efforts and all his fruits. I guarantee his brother, all of them, they're done. That's how it is. Dog eat dog world, they turn on each other. All that money coming into New York, he won't be there for that.
Yeah.
And he's crying over that inside. And, we're all enjoying it here with the popcorn,
Yeah.
But the next guy that comes in, you better believe the people on the streets are talking. And just one other thing before I go, man.
Yeah.
Some of these groups, like the Facebook groups, I like to join those underbelly groups, like the stimulus groups and the tax return group, because you see the real people,
Yeah.
the real struggling people, hear what they say,
Yeah.
know what they're like. And believe it or not, a lot of people aren't as asleep as a lot of people think. They just don't have the direction. They don't have that direction on what to do about it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference right now. People aren't as dumb because we have extensions and we have information coming to us. They know that they're being ripped off. They know what them people did to them. They just don't know the correct corridors. And that's why, like, with the George Game and things like that, and why I keep saying, look, the flag's been raised. We're here. It's time to, organize and mobilize and bring them to a direction.
Yeah.
It's because they need that direction. Everybody's not a natural born leader. Some people make better soldiers. Some people make better leaders. But once that flag has been raised, it's on, man. And I look at that like it's a call. There's too many people out there like just saying, look, we're done with it. We see the effect. But listen, man, I'm sorry everybody for taking the time.
No, you're good, man.
Draw your line in the sand, people.
Yeah.
Draw your line in the sand and don't move. Don't move that line.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate you, man. That's a great thought and a great concept. Man, that's a good one. So I like that energy and passion and fire, man. So I'll put that on the screen. What's your line in the sand? And that's where I remember over the last 3 administrations, I remember, Obama talking about, it's a red line, the red line in the sand, of Syria. And I'm thinking that is a great thought and a concept there. What's your line in the sand? And of course, for me, everybody has their own tolerance level where it's right there, anything beyond that, it's game on. I can get very radical. So I'm going to dial it back, but man. But anyway, we're getting ready to dial back. Got another live stream later on in the evening, so feel free to tune in. And so, as I guys mentioned, tonight at 9 p.m., having Mike the Prepper on. So we're going to go over some interesting stuff, man, that I think can be helpful for individuals to better track and monitor their own inventory and whatnot and stay up to date with everything. So other than that, feel free to tune in, ask questions and whatnot, and just talk some prepper stuff, because in the Discord page, in the prepper tab there, I was talked about reaching out to people who are in that space. And so we're going to get a little education there, man. So looking forward to it, trying to reach out to more people outside of the regular mainstream. So anyway, people, be blessed, be safe. I'm going to deny these calls here just because I get ready to dial back. But I hope everyone had a good evening, and let's do it again tomorrow, Lord willing, in a couple hours. So see you guys at 9 p.m. tonight. Tell a friend, invite a friend rather. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. See you guys later.